Fastway SBA introduces a one-on-one with Alex McAloon and Greg Young about SBA approvals.
Yeah, so Greg Young with First Savings Bank. Been in banking for 21 years, the last 7 years specifically in SBA 7A financing. So we do SBA 7A financing all throughout the country, all industries. And originally I was in New York City, now I'm in Dallas, Texas, so I have a good understanding of different markets and the needs for the customers.
Awesome. Thanks for jumping on today, Greg. In your experience, having done SBA now for 7 years, I'm sure you've had a lot of opportunity to see what different banks look at, how they're underwriting. What really separates different banks, and why would one lender approve it and another lender decline?
Yeah, so with the SBA, it's called the SOP, the Standard Operating Procedures, and that's the baseline that everyone goes off of, and that's pretty much as loose as lenders can get. And then from there, banks have their own guidelines, and they underwrite within their guidelines, which are within the SBA guidelines. So it depends. Every bank has their own appetite from their own experience. Some are more collateral lenders, some are more cash flow lenders, some like certain industries, geographical locations. So I think that's a big part of the reason where one loan may get declined at a bank and approved with another. And
Sure.
sometimes it's the experience of the banker, how they package it up and deliver it and structure the deal for the underwriting team.
No, that totally makes sense. Would you say that there's like overarching kind of big yeses and big nos, meaning things that every bank wants to see and maybe things that no bank wants to see?
No, that's a great part about the SBA. There's really no overarching no. Obviously, the basic, right? You have to be a permanent resident in the country, things like that. But other than that, there's no overarching yes or no. Some banks will do startups, some won't. Some will do construction, some won't. Some will only do business acquisition, only real estate deals. But there is a wide variety. That's why the SBA program is great.
Awesome. Have you seen any changes over the last, whether it be since COVID or, any major kind of changes within the SOP or just, risk appetite, whatever that might be for banks?
Both, right? The SOP changes often, and the banks have to understand those changes and adapt their policies to it. And appetites within banks change for sure. And with COVID, with the CARES Act, there was a lot of attention to the SBA. So I think it's more mainstream. People are familiar with it and understand it's a good program for small businesses borrowing $5 million and below.
Yeah, I think, COVID and PPP and EIDL for that matter are probably the best marketing that the SBA has ever had. So, 100%, I think people just have a much more a positive, feeling about the SBA, and they're much more willing to go down the process, which, sometimes, again, depending on the bank, can vary, and some are heavily paperwork intensive, some less so.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's important to work with an SBA expert, right? Someone who only does SBA, because the process is a little bit different. There's a few extra documents that need to be completed. So working with an expert helps for sure. Someone who understands the process and the whole team understands the process.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right. And then would you say that there's been a change or any kind of modifications on, let's say, what the collateral that's acceptable, or let's say cash flow, things like that?
No, there's been more changes in the down payments, right? So sometimes 10% down, and you can even qualify for no money down on the certain real estate transactions, which is nice.
Okay. Yeah. The no money down is typically if they're doing like a rent replacement, something like that, or?
Yeah, exactly. A rent replacement or a second location expansion, you could qualify for 100%. SBA, the fast way.
Apply today at FastwaySBA.com.